Hello and welcome to Learn Java. In this video, we are going to learn about inversion of control, also known as IOC in Spring. So what is inversion of control? Inversion of control is simply outsourcing the creation and management of objects. So basically it is somebody else creating and managing objects for us. Why? So that we can relax. So let's learn this with help of an example. So let's consider you are making Java app for a school. You go to school and ask the principal what kind of application do you want. The principal tells you that she wants an application for their maths teacher and the application must be able to provide homework. So what are we waiting for? Let's go to our Spring project. Right click on your Spring project, go to new, and let's create a package. We will name it com.learnjava.spring. We are using package naming convention here, so it starts with com dot your company name dot your application name. So you are a genius to figure it out that Learn Java is a company name here and Spring is application name. Now let's go ahead and create a class. Right click on a package, go to new and select a class. So as we are making this application for maths teacher, we are simply going to name this maths teacher and make a plain old Java object here. So this is our maths teacher class and it is supposed to give us homework. So let's create a method that will provide us homework. So this is a string return type. You have to return string. Let's go ahead and save this. Now you also need a main method to run this application. So right click on your package, go to new and go to class. So let's name this main class app. Why stress over naming, right? So we also want to go ahead and tick on this main method because we want main method to run our application. So this is our main method and there are two things we are supposed to do in our main method. That is create object for our maths teacher and then call the object. So now let's do some coding and create object for maths teacher. So we have created object for maths teacher. Now what we will do is simply print out the method. So just type s out and control space. It will give you the print statement. So let's call method from maths teacher, the teacher dot get homework. So let's go ahead and save this. Now let's try and run this program. So yay, our application is working just fine. Do algebra. But this is not a good software practice. So what do we do now? Let's create an interface and then implement it to our maths teacher class. So go ahead in your package, right click, go to new and choose interface. So our interface name will be simply teacher. So this is our teacher interface and it will have a method similar to our maths teacher. Public string get homework. Let's go ahead and save this. Interfaces do not have bodies, they only have method name. Just a quick code revision here. So let's go to our maths teacher and do some changes. That is, let this implement our teacher interface. So let's go ahead and save this, and we also have to make some changes in our main class. So what are we going to do is just remove this maths teacher and replace it with teacher. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's try and run this program after making some changes. So you can see our application is working similar, but now we are using interface, so this is a good software practice. So our application is ready, but you get the call from the principal and she says it must also work with the science teacher. So Eclipse is not recognizing this because science teacher is not a class. So what do we do now? There's a solution to this problem. Just go ahead and click on this bulb with a red cross mark. You'll see some options here. Go ahead and click on the second option that says create class science teacher. So you can see the name of this class will be science teacher. It will implement the interface teacher. So let's go ahead and click on finish. So here you can see Eclipse has created a science teacher class for us without doing anything. So let's make a simple change in this code. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and save this as well, and let's run this program again. So it must work with the science teacher now. It is not working with the science teacher right now, so we have not actually saved this. Let's go ahead and save this. So let's go ahead and run this program. So hey, it is working just fine, and our homework says do photosynthesis. Poor students, how are they gonna do photosynthesis? They are in plants. But that is not our concern right here. So let's show this to our principal. So the principal says it does not like this thing hard coded here. So if you want to change this into maths teacher, we have to change the source code and change this into maths teacher. And if you want to change this into science teacher, we have to make changes in the source code again. So our principal is not liking this. So what do we do now? So this is the time when we have to introduce ourselves to Spring. So it is very easy. Just go to your source, right click, go to new and create an XML file. So choose the XML file. So you can name it anything you like. I'm naming it application context. So this is our application context file. Now there's one thing you have to do here. Go to your favorite browser, copy this thing, I will provide this link in description so you don't need to worry, and paste it in your application context.xml file. So this is where you will define your bean. So if you're wondering what is bean is just Java objects, and Spring Bean is no different. So bean must have bean ID. So bean ID can be anything like haha, hoo hoo, or cuckoo, or your name, or anything. But we are just going to keep it simple and name it the teacher. So bean must also have a class name. So class name must be a fully qualified class name. It means your package name dot your class name. So this is our package name. So we are going to create a bean for science teacher. So we will give this name now, that is science teacher. Let's go ahead and save this. So the bean must be defined within the bean stack. So if you are wondering what is this, you don't need to worry about it. This is just for the validation, so that you use the valid tags here. Similarly, you are using bean tag here, that is a valid tag. So you cannot use tags like haha, hoo hoo, or anything like that, because this thing right here will prevent you from doing that. So this is for the purpose so that you use only identified tags in this XML file. So to run this new application, we are going to create a new main class. Go to your package, go to new, and go to class. So we are going to name this Spring App. We also need a main method, so we will also put a tick mark in our main method and click on finish. So this is our Spring App. So the first thing we need to do is load the Spring container. Then we have to retrieve the bean from the container. Then we can call the method from the bean. Now finally we can simply close the Spring container. So for doing this, you need to have some reference libraries in a class path. I have a separate videos that covers this, so go ahead and watch this video if you don't know how to do this. So let's load the Spring container. Just type class path XML and you can do control space. It will just bring the class name for you. I'm using control space again. So here you have to give your XML file name. Mine is application context.xml. Your can be anything. So make sure you don't mess with the spelling here, because it is very important that you give the correct spelling here. So let's retrieve the bean. So we will retrieve the bean in type teacher is equals to context.get bean. So you have to have a bean ID here. The bean ID must be similar to this. So we will just select this and copy this and paste it here. So we also need to give a class name here. We're simply going to give interface name, that is teacher, and it ends with dot class extension. So now let's print out the method of the science teacher. So teacher dot get homework. Now let's close the Spring container. So context dot close is used to close the Spring container. Let's go ahead and save this. Now let's run this program. If it works fine or if it does not works fine. So we are having some error here, don't worry about it. So we have given a wrong name here. So I wrote small l instead of capital L. Let's go ahead and save this. Now let's run this application again. So you can see this is working just fine, and we also have used the Spring here. So let's also cross check this with maths teacher. Let's run this Spring application again. So you can see this is running good and well with maths teacher as well. So our application is completed. Our Java app is now ready. We have also used Spring, and we have also understood what inversion of control is. Inversion of control is basically Spring taking the control over your application, Spring managing and creating object for you and making your life easier. So I hope you have understood the concept of inversion of control. So it is simply simplifying your application and not making continuous changes in your source code and having a separate file for creation and management of object. Go ahead and do some practice. Thank you for watching this video, and remember, coding requires practice.